so that you have that reference later too, and you can show it to family and share it with friends. And please do follow us on social media. MSJC is on all the platforms, and lots of great updates there. Even I get some newsy news things there when I pop onto Instagram and all. Everybody does such a great job. So with that, let's introduce our financial aid staff who is here with us today. We've got, Jonica Escobar, financial aid technician, and Susanna Meza from MSJC's financial aid. Take it away, guys, and let's talk financial aid.
Thank you, Beth.
So just give me a second and I'll go ahead and share my screen right now.
Oh, yes. Do I have to give you permissions?
Yes, please.
Let's do that. I forgot about all this bit of business here. Sorry about this, guys. Hold tight.
So meanwhile, we're getting that set up. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to drop them in the chat. Susanna will be presenting the first part of it, and then I'll be helping in the chat to answer any of those questions, and then I'll take over the second half. So again, if you have any questions, feel free just to put them in the chat, and just be mindful there are other participants. So if there's anything that have personal information, please refrain from dropping that information, and then just let us know, and then we can discuss those later.
Okay, I think we've got it going on now. So are you able to share your screen, Susanna?
Monica will be sharing.
Okay, are you guys seeing my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect.
Participants, can you see if you want to use the reaction buttons and just give us a thumbs up? You can see the screen all right, everybody, and hear us? Thank you. Hi, thank you for that, Michael. Okay, let's go ahead.
All right. So hi, everybody. Again, my name is Susanna. I'm a financial aid tech 2 here at MSJC. And we're really just going to dive in and give an overview on the financial aid process and dive a little bit deeper into what we offer here at MSJC specifically. So we hope you'll be joining us here at MSJC. And again, like Jonica said, we want to make it interactive. We have a smaller group today. So if you do have any questions as I'm going through it, by all means, feel free to pause me, raise your hand, unmute, drop it in the chat, and we'll try to address general concerns as we go. And then, of course, at the end, we'll have some time for Q&A. So let's go through our agenda. So again, we're going to talk about the application process. We're going to talk about the different financial aid programs available, both federal and state. Institutional. We're going to share some tips to be successful and some MSJC resources, and again, a Q&A at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's just start from the beginning. So what exactly is financial aid? So it's a form of funding provided to students and families to help fund their educational expenses, right? So by completing a financial application and any other documents required by the colleges and universities to which students are applying to, students can be considered for funds from federal government, state government, as well as any college or the universities themselves. And of course, financial aid can be used towards anything that's going to assist you in navigating college, right? So that includes tuition and fees, housing, books, supplies, transportation, and again, pretty much just anything that's going to aid you throughout your academic journey. Next slide, please. So when students apply, part of the calculation that determines eligibility is taking the school's cost of attendance and subtracting that from the expected family contribution, otherwise known as the EFC. So this determines then the student's financial need, right? And all of this, of course, gets calculated based on the information that's listed on your financial aid applications. So that's why it's very important to be as accurate as possible to ensure an equitable calculation process on that, so that we're able to determine your true eligibility. Next slide, please. All right, so how to apply. So let's first highlight that there are actually two different types of financial aid applications. And depending on the student's citizenship status, they will either complete the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act application. Please note that students will never need to complete both, right? So it's going to be one or the other. So students are eligible to complete the FAFSA if they are a US citizen, a permanent resident, an eligible non-citizen, or a T visa holder. And students will complete the DREAM Act application if they are undocumented, have a valid or expired DACA, U visa holders, have temporary protected status, or meet any of the other non-resident exemption requirements under AB 540. And if you're ever unsure on what these mean or which you should be completing, you may always visit each webpage and read more on those eligibility requirements to fully understand which one you should be applying for. And what's also nice is that before you're actually starting the DREAM Act, say you believe you should be doing the DREAM Act, before actually starting the application itself, you'll go through a series of questions that are going to check your eligibility to even apply for it, right? And then the webpage will actually then recommend you continue with the DREAM Act, or if you're a FAFSA candidate, and it'll actually direct you towards that webpage. Of course, you can always call us as well. We can double check that for you. So some of the areas that you'll be asked when filling out the financial applications are student demographics, school selection. So you'll be able to list up to 10 schools, right? So if you're unsure where you're going, you can always list those on there. There's no penalty for that. And then there will be a series of questions that will determine your dependency status, right? So if you're determined to be a dependent student, it will then also prompt you to enter parental demographic information. Financial information will be asked both of student and parent for dependent students, or just the student financials for independent students. And then of course you have to sign and submit. For dependent students, parents will also be required, or legal guardians will also be required to sign the FAFSA or DREAM Act at the end. Something that I did want to point out though is that sometimes there may be special circumstances, right? Or you may struggle to understand certain areas in the application. So we always want to encourage students to reach out, especially if you know which school you want to attend, because the financial aid office can have certain processes or appeal forms to fill out and ensure that your application gets processed correctly and on time. So we hope that you do, but if you are going to be coming to MSJC, you can always reach out to us before even enrolling in classes. If you have any questions around your financial aid, you're unsure, or you get stuck on any of those, legal guardian or parental information, things like that. Next slide, please. So there are several federal aid programs, right? So we have the Pell Grant, Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, Work Study. There's also Teach Grant. We unfortunately don't offer that here at MSJC, but that's something to consider. And then we have student loans as well. So the Fellow Pell Grant is awarded to eligible undergraduates pursuing their first bachelor's degree. So this award is based on the student's estimated family contribution, kind of what we touched on in the beginning, and their enrollment status, right? So that means whether the student is enrolled full-time, half-time, less than half-time, et cetera. The award amount will always get prorated based on that enrollment status. The Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, otherwise known as SCOG, is awarded to undergraduates pursuing their first bachelor degree or professional degree. And this grant is awarded to Pell Grant recipients with the lowest EFCs first, right? And the eligibility criteria for this may vary from college to college. So we really advise just reaching out and seeing those schools' eligibility requirements. And award amounts for this can range between $100 to $4,000 per academic year. And then Federal Work Study provides part-time jobs for undergraduate and graduate students with financial need, allowing them to earn money to help pay for their educational expenses. Often the program encourages students to take community service work or work related to their course of study. And funding for this can't be limited. So it's really important to apply early and definitely before that priority deadline. And there's actually a question in the financial application that will allow you to indicate whether or not you're interested. So at the time you apply, if you're unsure, we always recommend say yes. There's no penalty for that. That way down the line, when you're interested, you already have it ready and ready to go in your application. And educational loans will either typically be a direct loan or a direct plus loan. So direct loans may be both subsidized and unsubsidized. So with subsidized loans, they don't accrue interest while students are in school or in deferment, but to be eligible, students must demonstrate financial need. And with unsubsidized loans, they do accrue interest as soon as the loan is taken out, meaning while you're in school as well. But this loan is not based on financial aid. So that's the difference. Interest rates do vary per academic year, so it's important to understand the terms of your loan before accepting it. Rates are always posted on the student aid webpage if you're going the federal route, and if you're going private or any other route, it's just important to consider those interest rates. Annual loan limits are going to be based on students' dependency status and grade level, right? And then direct loans have a 6-month deferment period after the student graduates, in which they don't have to start making payments just yet until after 6 months of post-graduation. Next slide, please. So for the state aid programs, we have the California College Promise Grant, there's Cal Grant, Student Success Completion Grant, and Chafee Grant. So the California College Promise Grant, otherwise known as CCPG, is a non-cash grant, and it's usually referred to as a tuition fee waiver, and it's awarded to eligible California and AB 540 residents attending a California community college. And there are certain criteria. It's typically awarded to students who are meeting certain income standards. And then a Cal Grant is a cash grant awarded by CSAC, the California Student Aid Commission. And to qualify, students must complete their FAFSA or California Dream Act application by the deadline. Typically, it's March 2nd, and meet the eligibility and financial requirements, as well as any minimum GPA requirements. So Cal Grants can actually be used at any UC, CSU, or community college, even some qualifying independent and career colleges or tech schools in California. So there are 3 different types of Cal Grants. So we have A, B, and C. Students' eligibility will be based on the FAFSA or Dream Act responses, of course, the verified Cal Grant GPA, and the type of California colleges listed on the financial applications, and whether or not you're a recent high school graduate. So that's speaking directly to our crowd here. And then the Student Success Completion Grant, otherwise known as SSCG, provides students with additional financial aid to help offset the total cost of community college attendance. And it really is designed to encourage full-time attendance and successful on-time completion, right? So this funding is limited though, and the grant is subject to availability of funds. And similar to the California College Promise Grant, again, SSCG is only available at California community colleges. And the California Chafee Grant Program provides up to $5,000 annually to current and former foster youth for college or vocational training at any accredited college in the US based on available funding, right? So to be eligible, foster youth must have been in California foster care for at least 1 day between their 16th and 18th birthday, and not have reached their 26th birthday before July 1, 2022. So that's speaking directly to this academic year, the 22-23 academic year. Foster youth are encouraged to apply during their senior year of high school. And to apply, students should be completing either the FAFSA or Dream Act application and the California Chafee Grant Program application, which Jonica can drop in the chat so that you can easily access that if that's something that is applicable to you. Next slide, please. There are additional institutional grants available. So just by filling out either the FAFSA or the Dream Act application, students will be considered for tuition and system-wide fees gift aid. So the main gift aid that's available, it's usually referred to as the UC's Blue and Gold Scholarship, the California State University Grant, and then for community colleges, of course, the Promise Program, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, or the California College Promise Grant, like we touched on. So let's talk a little bit about MSJC Promise. Next slide, please. So the MSJC Promise Program offers up to 2 years of free tuition and textbook assistance for first-time, full-time college students. So we actually launched this program back in fall of 2019, and it really has provided affordable education to students who did not otherwise qualify for the California College Promise Grant or any other financial aid, right? So this is a great option for students that aren't otherwise eligible. Students that meet all eligibility criteria for the program will be considered as funding permits, of course, and there is no additional application process for the MSJC Promise. But there are different requirements for the program. So, that includes timely completion of admissions application and financial applications. And then, of course, we do have a webpage with those eligibility details, which we will also be dropping in the chat. And I wanted to touch on a couple of frequently asked questions. So let's go ahead and talk about those. Next slide, please. So again, it's been a great addition to MSJC, and it really has received a lot of attention since its launch. We do have a frequently asked questions page on our webpage. We pulled some of the most frequent ones, and we wanted to talk about them today to assist students and any families that are interested in the program. So a couple of things to keep in mind about the program. A first-time college student is a student who has never attended a college and whose first major term of attendance at MSJC will be fall of their first academic year in college, right? I did want to highlight though that students that completed concurrent dual enrollment or articulated coursework while in high school may still be considered, right? And then being enrolled and completing 12 units in the fall and spring semesters is a requirement of the MSJC Promise program. Sometimes our office receives a number of inquiries from students wondering why they weren't awarded the MSJC Promise, but they were enrolled in less than full time. So that's really important to keep in mind. And it's really just to encourage on-time completion of the program. Again, there is no specific application process for MSJC Promise. Students that meet all eligibility criteria for the program will be considered, given that you have submitted the financial application and are enrolled. And again, just really important to highlight that you've completed your admissions application and financial application. So the way this program is designed, it's a reimbursement for tuition. So this is not quite like the California College Promise Grant where it waives your tuition. Students will be required to pay for the tuition at the time of registration. And then if the student is then awarded MSJC Promise, we will go ahead and review that and reimburse those tuition fees. So it's kind of a little bit different in that way, but you have to pay in the front end and you'll receive it in the back end if you're eligible. We've also expanded the program. So now it includes a book grant in addition to the tuition reimbursement, which again, students do not need to submit a separate application for. Once we review eligibility for Promise, you'll also be considered for the book grant automatically. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Jonica, and she's going to talk a little bit about what tools and resources we offer here at MSJC and a couple of our other processes. Take it away, Jonica.
Thank you, Susanna. Okay, just give me a second to do a new share because I believe we have a video somewhere and I did not share with the sound. So just give me 1 second. Okay. So hi, everyone. Again, my name is Jonica Escobar. So some of the important information that Susanna just gave out, which is all of it, she has told you how to apply and what kind of programs are available. But now, what do you do? So the important dates are very important to keep in mind because October 1st is when the application does open up for financial aid. So for anyone coming in the fall or this even summer, the application opened up October 1st of basically last year. So the application will open up October 1st, and we encourage students to go ahead and apply as soon as possible because, as Susanna mentioned, there are a lot of those programs that are first come, first serve. So things like the SCOG, Federal Work Study, the Cal Grant also has that priority deadline of March 2nd. So all of those things, you want to make sure that you maximize your financial aid by applying early. So the earlier, the better. year, so October 1st. Just keep that date in the back of your mind, because every year that you choose to attend school, whether it's here or anywhere else, you will be reapplying for financial aid annually. The March 2nd priority deadline was the priority deadline to submit either a financial aid application, whether it's FAFSA or DREAM Act. So both of those do have that priority deadline of March 2nd. And also, if you're a brand new student coming into, whether it's MSJC or going to a different college or university straight out of high school, there is that Cal Grant GPA requirement, which most of your high school counselors have already done for you, and they submitted by that March 2nd. All you have to do is basically make sure that you submit your application. So it puts you in the running for this additional financial assistance and other programs. At the community college level, we do have an additional deadline for that Cal Grant GPA verification, which is the September 2nd, and that's at the community college only. So you have another opportunity to get your GPA submitted. Another thing that you want to be mindful is if you are attending with MSJC, you want to be aware of the disbursement schedule, which is basically when we award you financial aid outside of just your California College Promise Grant, which is the tuition waiver, because that's going to give you an estimate as to when you should be receiving your financial aid. So if you get awarded anything like the Pell Grant, the SCOG, anything that's a cash grant, it does give you important information. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And just to kind of give you an overview of what for this year it looks like. So here we have information as to, you know, during this date, it's our first go around for the fall that happened, or actually better example in the spring, since we're currently in spring. This is our first payment that happened January 21st. So students had to be awarded by that January 14th to receive that first part of their Pell Grant and SCOG. And then you'll see the dates in bold are other dates that we give out that additional financial aid. So you just want to keep those in mind, because that is going to determine when you receive your financial aid, as well as other important things that we'll talk about, which is Bank Mobile, because that is how you would receive your financial aid. And sorry, no. Sorry, I'm trying to go back to sharing. Okay. Oh, sorry, guys. Bear with me. Okay. So besides those important dates, we have our financial aid checklist. So what happens is once you submit your financial aid application, there is some students who are selected for a secondary review process called verification, which is very normal. And it just means we have to request some additional documentation, and students are selected at random by the Department of Education. So don't be alarmed if this happens. This is a very common thing. And students are requested to submit some of the documentation, whether that's tax information, anything with identity, high school diplomas. It just varies depending on what you're selected for verification for. And you do receive information from us letting you know that there are some updates to your financial aid checklist. And so what that checklist is, if you log into your self-service, so if any of you are attending with MSJC and have already completed the process to becoming a student as far as setting up your self-service, then you do have a section that says financial aid checklist. So when you click on that financial aid, it's important to just make sure you're under the correct year, because right now we're in the middle of finishing up the 21-22 school year, but also processing for the 22-23 school year. So you just want to make sure you're in the correct year. When you click on the correct year, you should see something similar to this. So you will receive, again, communication throughout the whole process when we receive your financial aid application. If there's any documents that may need to be submitted to us. And if there is, you'll see something like this where it says action needed. So it will route you to complete those required documents and then create a student forms account. So what that student forms account is the electronic method that we use to receive those documents and review them. So the first thing that you're going to do, since most of you will not have created an account before with us, it's going to prompt you to go to msjc.studentforms.com, and then you'll see this. If you're a new user, you'll click create, and then it's going to ask you your information. One thing that is very, very important is make sure that you enter your information as it is on your financial aid application and how it is also on your legal documents, because it does not use any nicknames. It has to match exactly how it is on your financial aid application for it to work. So you want to make sure that your date of birth, your last name, your first name, and your social security number are correct. And then it does give you this neat feature here to type in your phone number, so you get messages, text messages directly to your phone if there's any updates or changes that have been made to your account. So once you fill in that information, you're going to click create account. So once you have submitted basically all of your documentation and we have told you congratulations, what happens next? So I'm just going to go ahead and play you this video to show you what the next process of the offer letter is to review that information.
To begin, on the msjc.edu homepage, toward the bottom right under My MSJC, click on Self-Service. You will be prompted to log in with your username and password that is also used with Canvas, and click on Financial Aid. From your financial aid checklist, you may view your current offer letter by clicking on Review Your Financial Aid Offer Letter. At the top of the page, you will see a link with the option to download and/or print a copy of your letter. Your offer letter will give you other important information in addition to your listed awards. As you scroll down, you will see some key terms like budget, EFC, or expected family contribution, and need, which are populated based on your FAFSA application. Your budget is the cost of attendance, which is made up of the average amount calculated for direct and indirect costs. Your EFC, or expected family contribution, is based on the information you submitted on your FAFSA. Your need will be the difference between your budget and EFC. The different types of financial aid awarded go towards fulfilling this need. Your Pell entitlement is based on your EFC and enrollment status. If eligible, you will see the annual amounts you qualify for under the different enrollment statuses. To be eligible for the maximum award, you must be enrolled full-time, which is 12 or more units. Please keep in mind that all amounts listed on the offer letter will reflect your eligibility based on full-time enrollment. If enrolled in anything less than full-time, the amount dispersed will be prorated according to your enrollment status based on eligibility. Although you may see awards listed on your offer letter, federal aid like the Pell Grant, Federal Work Study, SEOG, or California State Cash Grants like the Cal Grant are affected by satisfactory academic progress, also referred to as SAP or SAP.
Okay, so that was just a quick
Again, on the msjc.edu.
That was just a quick way to kind of show you what you're looking at once we have notified you that all of your documents have been reviewed, have been accepted, and then your offer letter is finalized. At that point, you get to see, and each offer letter is individual and personalized. So just make sure that you're reviewing your own and try not to compare with other students, because each one is going to be catered to you. So in the video at the end, it mentioned satisfactory academic progress, or SAP or SAP. So what that is, it's a policy that we are required to basically monitor your progress towards any of your educational, like academic standards. So we make sure that at the end of each term, you're maintaining your 2.0 GPA or higher, and it does have to be cumulative, and completing 67% of your attempted units. So that just means whatever classes you're signing up for, you're not withdrawing excessively or failing those classes, because eventually it does add up and then affect your completion rate to the point where it might put you in a situation where your financial aid, you're in a warning or eventually taken away. And then you have to make sure that you meet those standards every semester to continue receiving your financial aid. And your educational program, making sure that you are completing it within the maximum time frame. So what that means is we allot students depending on what their program of study they select. So if you select a certificate instead of an associate's degree, there's going to be different amount of units that you need to complete that degree itself. So we do make sure that you're on track to completing those. If anything does happen where you're not meeting those requirements, it can result in the loss of eligibility for most of your federal and state aid. So if there are extenuating circumstances, you're always welcome to appeal those. But we do tell students and we advise them that if there's anything going on, make sure to talk to your academic counselor and financial aid, because at that point we could guide you a little bit better so you know what to do. So the different SAP standings, we have satisfactory, which is the one where you're maintaining your 2.0 and your 67 completion rate, and then also maintaining, staying on track to complete your degree within the maximum time frame. So again, it is going to be different depending on whether you're doing a certificate program, or you're doing an associate's degree. A warning status, students, if they don't meet those criteria of the 2.0 GPA or 67% completion rate, or both, they are put on a semester of warning. During that warning semester, you can receive your financial aid, but that means at the end of that semester, when we recalculate your SAP, if you are still not meeting one or both requirements, you do go into a denied status. So at that point, students would not be eligible to continue receiving financial aid. And again, if there's any reason why you were unsuccessful in your classes or had a documented extenuating circumstance, you're always welcome to appeal that. And same thing with the unit maximum. It does happen that once students reach the maximum units for their program, that they're no longer eligible to receive those cash grants. And we're talking about just the cash grants, because the California College Promise Grant would still cover your classes as long as you're meeting the requirements for that itself as far as need, and then also maintaining a good GPA, which is 2.0 and above. So just keep that in mind. This is specifically for the cash grants. If a student successfully appeals and has their financial aid reinstated, they are put under a probation status. Probation doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing with us. It just means that we're closely monitoring which classes you're taking and making sure that you're staying on track to complete those classes and to earn your degree. If a student does appeal and has their financial aid reinstated, but then at the end of the semester fails to meet those requirements again, or is still not doing well, then at that point that petition can be revoked. But again, if there's any reason that you feel you're not being successful like you should be, then you're always welcome to contact us, and we can guide you a little bit better as far as the financial aid part of things, to make sure that you stay on track and you're still eligible for your financial aid. So we mentioned Bank Mobile when I was discussing the disbursement schedule, and Bank Mobile is our third party that we partnered with to make sure that students can get their funds a little bit quicker. So with Bank Mobile, most of you, if you have already completed your admissions application and submitted a financial aid application, you may have received a green envelope that looks similar to this. So inside the envelope, it gives you a website, which is how to select your refund selection. And in it, it gives you a personal code. So that personal code is also emailed to your email. So either one works, but that personal code is giving you basically access to select whether you want direct deposit into your own bank account. So if you already have a trusted branch that you work with, you can provide the information like your routing number, account number, and it'll basically wire the money directly to there. So you would be using like your same debit card, Visa card, or whatever you have. So you can put this into your own checkings or savings account if you'd like, or you can create a Bank Mobile Vibe account with them. So usually that's the quickest way, but just note that they will be asking for some additional information because you're essentially creating a bank account with them. So they would be your branch, and then you would also have a specific debit card with them. So just keep that in mind, but we do encourage students to use either or, just because that is going to be the quickest way not only to receive your financial aid, but then ensure that you're actually receiving it. No. Okay. So some tips for success. So one of the biggest things is making sure that you're checking your email and the financial aid checklist regularly, because if there's any changes, whether we revise your award letter, we have to send out some information, whatever it is, we do send all of our communication electronically. So making sure that you're checking your MSJC student email. Now you're able to create it to where your personal emails, your preferred email, and then again, your checklist, because if for whatever reason down the line, we may request some additional documentation, it's going to show up in your financial aid checklist. The other thing, being aware of those important financial aid dates and deadlines. So we talked about the March 2nd deadline, priority deadline for financial aid. We talked about the October 1st, which is when the financial aid becomes available. There's also deadlines that happen throughout the academic year, especially if you stop attending within after like fall or spring, because there are document deadlines. And if you aren't meeting those, you can potentially be forfeiting any financial aid that you may have been eligible for. So just making sure that you stay on top of those things. Same thing with appeals. If you are looking to appeal, whether it's for any special circumstances like an expected family contribution, especially with COVID, a lot of students and their parents experienced some losses in their wages that really do affect their financial aid eligibility. So things like that, just make sure that you're staying on top of those dates and deadlines. If you have any questions, speak to one of us in the financial aid office. We will do our best to guide you through the process and make sure that there aren't any potential negative impacts on your financial aid, and give you at least further guidance as to if you need to register for some additional classes, or maybe even at some point, some students may feel like they need to drop classes, anything like that. Speak to us, because we're going to give you how the best course of action, or at least the information that is necessary for you to make the best informed decision for yourself. The other thing is registering for classes that are on your education plan. So students, we do encourage you to speak to your counselor at least once when you come in. And then from there, if there's any changes to your education plan where you may have changed your mind, whether it's your major or anything like that, speak to your counselor, because they're going to guide you in the best direction to make sure that you stay on top of taking only the classes that you need. Because as we talked about in SAP, you do have a unit cap to how many classes that you can take before you reach that unit maximum. So you don't want to be taking a bunch of classes that don't meet the requirements for your degree, because then you'll find yourself in a situation where you may have reached that unit maximum before time. Also, refrain from excessively withdrawing, because again, with the 67% completion rate, you want to make sure that you're staying on top of whatever classes that you take, you're passing them. Because even though sometimes you'll hear that a withdrawal is better than a failing grade, it is, but it still affects you. So things like that, you want to make sure that you're not just taking a bunch of classes and then later deciding, okay, I don't want to take any of them, because all of that is going to affect your SAP and then also your financial aid, and it still goes on your transcript. And then the other thing, being aware of your SAP. So we cannot stress SAP enough. It's very, very important that you understand SAP and know what it is. It does pop up in your self-service after your first term of attendance, or if you've already completed some classes with MSJC while you were in high school, you should have an SAP status. So we do monitor your SAP after every semester that you take classes, and any type of grade gets posted on your transcript. So just be mindful of that. And then even if you're not receiving financial aid, we still calculate your SAP. Okay. So the impacts to your financial aid eligibility. So the first thing is make sure you submit your financial aid application between October 1st and March 2nd, because again, the way to maximize your financial aid eligibility is making sure that you're applying early, because if there's any type of financial aid that is first come, first serve, or limited funding, you want to make sure that you're trying to get that. So October 1st, just remember, October 1st is when the application comes out. That's when you want to start applying, but no later than March 2nd. Students maintaining your SAP, making sure that you understand what it is. And if you don't understand it, come talk to us, because we need you to be able to continue receiving your financial aid. And also, we know that financial aid does help students as far as like their books and supplies. So we want to make sure that you're being successful, and we need to make sure that you're also meeting this requirement so you can receive your aid. So if you have any questions with that, always come talk to us. We'll be able to guide you better, and then also give you specific examples as far as like what's going to happen in your case. Your enrollment status. So we did talk about in the offer letter a little bit how your enrollment status does affect your financial aid, because in order to receive what you see on your offer letter as the maximum amount, you do have to be enrolled full time. Some students don't qualify for financial aid under every single enrollment status, which is why we tell you to look at your offer letter, because it does give you specifics. But if, let's say, you're only taking 6 units, which is considered half-time, then at that point, that also does affect how much financial aid you would receive. And then also the deadlines. So as I mentioned, institutional deadlines throughout the semester. We do have document deadlines. We do have deadlines for our appeals. And so you want to make sure that you stay on top of those things, because all of these things are going to affect your financial aid eligibility. Within MSJC, we try our best to cater workshops to our students and anyone who is interested in any of the financial aid process. So we do have workshops that we offer. So we do have application workshops like that are the FAFSA and the DREAM Act. So we do line by lines. So if you are seeing the emails coming out, so most of you, if you're coming to MSJC closer to October 1st, but before October 1st, we're going to start sending you emails that, hey, it's time to renew your financial aid application. We have these workshops coming up, and you're always welcome to attend, where we can actually help you and show you the line by line process of how to complete that application. We also have financial aid overviews, which most of you, if we had any type of presentation at your high schools, we already covered most of this information, because we've gave you, okay, all of this information that Susanna already covered, a little more in depth as far as what programs are available, what the application process looks like, what happens after. For our students specifically, we do have SAP 101 and SAP, the petition process. So we do send out communication to students as well, if you're interested in attending those, to gain a little bit better of the information, or if you are in the not meeting those SAP requirements and you want to know how to petition, we do have those workshops available. We have Getting to the Money, which is our presentations that we give throughout the semester to really guide students and give the same presentation that we gave now, but a little more in depth, and then also answer those questions that you may have as to why you're not, your file's not complete, or you're getting stuck in a certain step. We're there to assist students. And then we also have financial literacy, which in the month of April, it is Financial Aid Literacy Month. So we have different topics like budgeting, transfer, and all these different topics that we cover for students who want to be basically in the know, and then also understand what the process is like to be financially smart. So just keep that in mind. In the chat, we are going to put the link to our financial aid workshops, so you can just keep up. You can always go through the web page itself, and you can see when our upcoming workshops are coming up. We have the MSJC scholarships, which are under the MSJC Foundation department, and they offer various types of scholarships for our continuing and transferring students. So each semester, there's a new opportunity for students to apply. It is a one application, and it has a series of different questions. It'll ask you what your interests are, what your major, what your goals are, because it's going to try and match you up with as many different scholarships as possible. So you don't have to do anything other than apply for it. So once you apply, you do get notification if you qualified or have been selected as an awardee of these scholarships. Okay. The MSJC Foundation department also has the Pledge for Success, which is a basic need initiative to help students with emergency food, books and supplies, professional clothing, basic hygiene items, books, and miscellaneous supplies. Some of our students have been awarded the Pledge for Success in forms of emergency scholarships and other things like that. Usually if students self-identify to one of our staff members that they're in need of additional assistance, they try their best to match you with something that they can help you with as far as either scholarships, emergency food, or anything like that. So we're coming to the end of our presentation here. Again, we do encourage you, if you have any type of questions, go ahead and give us a call. We do have live representatives to assist you and guide you the best that we can. We have also our email. So if you have questions, you can always email us. Feel free to go through our financial aid webpage itself. And if you find that you want a virtual appointment, we do have appointments available through the MSJC Student Support Hub, and you'll be able to see when we have available appointments. You don't have to, this is just an option. But I would say if you need that one-on-one attention and really needs a step-by-step, we highly encourage those virtual appointments. And our office is open Monday through Thursday from 9 till 5. So even if you choose not to come with MSJC, we are still a resource to you. So please use these resources. We're here to help you and make sure that you're successful wherever you go. At this point, I'm going to turn it over for questions. Does anyone have questions?
So feel free to unmute yourself, guys. It's not like we have a big sellout crowd, but you can also type them in the chat. I hope this was helpful. You learned something new. Think about what is not clear and grab our financial aid experts right now while they're here.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This was so helpful. My name is Shatoya. So I have a question in regards to the financial aid when it comes to like the veteran status, like my son may be eligible for that. Is that something? I didn't see anything on the financial aid application that specify that. Exactly how do we go about seeing about that? Do I contact the veteran department or financial aid?
That's a great question. I can pop it in the chat, but anything to do with like CalVet fee waivers or using veteran benefits, you will want to follow up with our Veterans Resource Center because they'll be a little better equipped to answer those questions and help you with that process. And just another thing to throw out there, we do have students who use both veteran benefits and also financial aid. So just keep that in mind if you are interested. I would still encourage you to apply for financial aid because you are able to use both.
Nice. There's some great help at that award-winning Veterans Resource Center, by the way, students and staff that have lived it and know what forms. I'm sure there's a form you can fill out, but we're a military-friendly school. There's a Veterans Resource Center at the San Jacinto campus and at the Menifee campus right now, but it's so convenient to reach them virtually through the hub. They will call you back and if they're on the other line and respond to your emails. Any other questions or thoughts come to mind? Good. I'm so glad this has been helpful, Michael. Thank you for that feedback. Yeah.
I have a question. I'm speaking for my son here. On your MSJC promise, I was wondering about the accommodations or the accommodation center. Do you know how many credits it would be needed to be eligible for that promise?
I believe if you go through accommodations, there is an adjustment to the 12. I believe it's 10 units if you're going through accommodation services. Jonica, do you know that or?
I am not 100% sure, but I would say the best thing to do is contact ASC, which is our accommodation services.
Yeah,
because
we're going to their meeting, their online meeting.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I just wanted to see if you know what you knew.
Yeah. So I do know that students that have accommodation services, depending, there is a way to the requirement for promise won't necessarily be the 12 in every scenario for that. So definitely encourage you to go to there. It sounds like you already have. So to answer your question in short, yeah, your student could be considered if they're taking less than the 12 units.
And I put their link in the chat too. Please visit their page at our website because you can email them those kinds of questions. But yes, I'm really hoping that you come to their presentation on Thursday, May 12th at 4:30. Lots of good info. And Jason is actually at the Temecula campus today in person between 1 and 4 o'clock. If you're in the area, you want to stop by, they'll give you a tour and you can talk to them.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
And anybody else, go ahead and chime in or type it in the chat. We've so enjoyed presenting to you today. Go ahead and feel free to use the reaction buttons. We love to see the love and are here for you. So what else comes to mind, please? You're welcome. Thank you, Shatoya.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Michael's mother.
Hi.
Thanks
Hi.
for explaining a lot of this. So you got to this point where we got that little green letter.
Mm.
our next step then, just because we did the FAFSA, we have all that financial aid. And so this is the letter that you guys were talking about that we would get. So we just really need to go on this line and take the next step. Is that right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Okay.
that looks like it's the Bank Mobile code.
Yeah, give me the big
Yeah.
green envelope that you guys had pictures of.
So
Okay.
that's your code there. So when you go in there, you can register your account. It's going to ask for that code. It's going to link it to MSJC, and your son or your daughter or your student then can register their refund preference. So all of our disbursements go through Bank Mobile. So there's a couple of options on there when you log in. We always recommend if your student has a personal bank account to link it to a personal bank account. That way the money can get there a lot quicker. I know that Bank Mobile offers checking accounts too that you can establish when you're in there, or you can do a check, which is probably the least recommended at this point. Could get lost, but yeah, those would be the options.
Okay, so this basically means that we did our FAFSA right, and then the funds are now available, and this is how they're available. I got that right?
Once funds are available, that's how they would get it. But if we're talking about 22-23 FAFSA, MSJC, we haven't started reviewing those just yet.
Okay.
But yeah, if you have your confirmation from student aid, that means you did it correctly. And then once we start reviewing it, if we have any questions, kind of we talked about that verification piece. If there's anything we need from you at that point, we'll reach out. But you could definitely do the Bank Mobile piece now ahead of time, even before that time comes.
Okay. Thank you.
And when you register for classes, you'll see in the account summary, always check if there's a balance due. But your award will be posted to self-planning, and financial aids are very busy right now updating everyone's FAFSA. Am I right?
Yeah, so once everything is done as far as we have already requested any documentation. So not every student is going to be requested that secondary review process, which is called verification. So not everyone will. But in the case that a student is selected for verification, they will receive that communication from us. They will have the opportunity to upload their documents. And then from there, once we review our end, if there's nothing else that we need, we will send that follow-up communication letting you know, congratulations, your offer letter is available for viewing. And then at that point, you'll be able to see what financial aid grants have been awarded. And from there, you can set up the Bank Mobile earlier. We encourage you to do so, because then at that point, it doesn't delay the disbursement, because we can tell you, hey, everything's good to go. But if you haven't selected a preference, it just hangs out until you actually do select a preference. So we don't want any delays in you receiving that financial aid, because we know how helpful it is for books and supplies and other things in your classes.
I know we're at time here, Beth, but I mean, we want to respect everybody's time. But again, thank you guys for joining us. You have our contact information. You can always contact us. We have live technicians Monday through Thursday between 9 to 5. We can even hop on a Zoom call if you need some one-on-one guidance. So please reach out. And again, we're going to be here again later at 3 o'clock. So if you have any more questions, you can see us then, and we'll be happy to help.
Thank you.
Thanks
this
again.
was marvelous. Yes, thank you again. By the way, this has been recorded and we'll post it. Give me about 10 working days to post it to the MSJC YouTube channel, where you can see it again for the first time. And of course, come back at 3 too. We'll do this again at 3. And I love the links that you put in the chat. Thank you. Please make note. And at any of these presentations, you want to take a snapshot with your device or with your phone, like we do in college, lectures. This was like a college lecture. So I'm proud of you guys for hanging in there. This is, I mean, in a good way. No, this is good.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Right. We can't condense it. We try.
No worries. Well, then with that, you can stick around, financial aid, or head out, but you guys stick around, because I have a treat for you as well. We've got Alexia Hernandez and Giselle Miranda from First Year Experience, or FYE as we say. And I want you all to know why this is such an important program, and give you this option to be part of it. So with that, I have given co-host permissions to Giselle. I will do the same thing for Alexia, pardon me, and go ahead, and if you feel comfortable, Giselle, take it off video and go for it. Thank you. Hi, guys.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Giselle. I will allow Alexia to introduce herself in just a second. Still having a little bit tech issues, so you won't see my face today. So I apologize, but you guys can hear my voice. Alexia, the same thing as well. You'll be able to hear her for today's presentation. We have a very impactful and a lot of information that we'll share. Feel free to put any questions that you have as we are presenting. We'll of course leave questions at the very end for anything that we cover during today's presentation. So the first year experience program, we're going to break that down, what it means for you for the upcoming 2022-2023 school year. During today's agenda, these are the topics we'll be covering. What is the first year experience program? What are the benefits of the first year experience program? You'll be able to meet our team, our FYE counselors, as well as our navigators, how we serve you during your first year and starting your college journey, how you become an FYE student, the Student Success Seminar, the College Success and Career Readiness, FYE events, tour of the FYE website and applications, and we will be going over questions and answers. A lot of information we'll be covering today, but we'll be able to do it within the time frame. So let's go ahead and continue on. So what is the first year experience program? The first year experience program at MSJC is designed to prepare you for academic success and to help you in selecting the career path that is right for you. Whether you're transitioning from high school or just beginning your college education, the rigors of college life can present the best students with challenges that require major adjustments. That's why we have created a supportive environment here at MSJC where we are carrying people and programs to assist you with your college journey. That is the spiel that we like to give our first year experience students who apply with us, but I like to go a little bit more in depth. Myself, I was a transfer student here at MSJC. Alexia was also a student here, first-time student. We didn't have the luxury of being an FYE student when we first became students and Eagles at MSJC, and we talk about how we wish we had. It's a very helpful program for our first-time students. It allows you to get the right kind of foot in the door to start your college career and start your educational goals, because not only will we provide support with early registration, we have support staff here like myself and Alexia. We have other staff members here to support you, but it allows you to receive benefits to kind of, I would say, make sure that you're able to obtain your goals within the time frame that you would allow, right? College is not a cookie cutter experience. We all have different experiences as students when we transfer and or graduate from MSJC. So we want to make sure that we start you guys off right and present, information that you guys and benefits that you guys are allowing to be successful. And I talk about benefits, but let me clarify what that means for you all. So what are the benefits for the first year experience program? One of the benefits, and the one that I love the most, and I can't share it enough, is early registration. So as a first-time student, it would be beneficial for you to have early registration, kind of pick the order of your classes. Once you either graduate from high school, you may either have a job currently, plan on getting a job. You guys may have other experiences, whether that you guys have other outside things going on in your life. Maybe you plan on being an athlete at MSJC, what have you. Being able to get early registration and picking your schedule will kind of be successful to ensure that your schedule is tailored to you and help you ensure enrollment is desired for courses. When you are a part of the FYE program, you do have your own FYE counselor, and ensuring that you're getting the courses best fitted for your schedule is a very beneficial and highly, I would say, coveted tool to have as a first-time student. So it's very important. The next thing we offer as a benefit is Summer Bridge, which is a special event that is designed to enhance your transition to college. We'll go into more what Summer Bridge is in a bit, but Summer Bridge is a one-day orientation that we'll be offering as early as June 13th. This is, again, like I mentioned, a one-day event all the way through summer. At the last day would be July 28th. So we offer these as our first-time FYE students to get them better acquainted with their upcoming semester for the fall 2022 semester, as well as making sure that that transition from high school to college is as seamless as possible. We want to make things easy for you guys. So Summer Bridge is very, very important for our first-time students. We also have a first-year experience counselor, which will help students with their academic planning, personal counseling, and career development. Whether you know what you want to do with your career, whether you have some idea or not, we want to better support you. Our fantastic counselor, Diana Serrano, she was an MSJC student herself. has tons of experience working with first-time students and want to make sure that she allows you guys to accomplish your goals. So having your own personalized counselor is very helpful. You also have myself and Alexia, who are first-year experienced navigators. We are a team of caring professionals dedicated to supporting the success of our first-year students, whether you need help with registering. We just had the financial aid staff, fantastic staff. Whether you need support to get in contact with them, we would help you with that. Maybe you just need some support and experience and want to reach out to us in regards to questions you have. That's what we're here to support you through. So as previous MSJC students, myself, Alexia, and Diana, we've been there, done that. We understand how you guys may be feeling, and we want to make this transition easy for you all. And then in the fall, we're actually currently in the process of solidifying our workshops and events. We have tons of workshops and events to get our students better acquainted with their services and programs at the college and make sure that they're aware of resources. And we have a lot of cool things planned for the upcoming school year, especially in fall. So if you're interested in the first year experience program, these are the benefits that will allow you to be successful. I'm going to go ahead and give it off to Alexia for a few slides, let her handle a couple pages, and I will come back shortly to present. So Alexia, if you want to cover these.
Hey everyone, my name is Alexia Hernandez, and I am an FYE navigator, a part of the FYE program. So I'm going to be going over some areas that FYE can assist you with. So first off, like Giselle mentioned, we do have Summer Bridge. And during Summer Bridge, we'll be explaining clear curriculum pathways to career and employment. We also have learning community resources, which help our students stay on path. And then we also have our FYE faculty that ensure that students are learning and succeeding academically. And then we also have our FYE counselor who will help our FYE students choose and enter a pathway. And then we also offer our SSS 990 or our CSCR 100 courses, which we will go over in depth of what each course entails. The SS 990 course is a non-college credit course, but the CSCR 100 is a college credit course. And again, we'll go more in depth in regards to those two courses. And then lastly, we also have guest speakers who attend our FYE webinars and advise our students as well. So those are some areas that FYE can assist you with. And then as you can see here, we have our FYE team. So first off, we have Albert Jimenez, who is our program coordinator. Next, we have Diana Serrano, who is our FYE counselor. And then we also have our FYE navigators, Giselle Morando, who was just speaking earlier, and then myself, Alexia Hernandez. So you'll be seeing a lot of us if you are planning on becoming a part of the FYE program. And then going into an FYE counselor and their role, they are a dedicated counselor that will help you complete an educational plan, and it's your roadmap to a guided pathways, college culture, and graduation. So they can assist you with academic counseling, career counseling, transfer, personal, crisis, and more. So those are the areas that they can assist our students with, and they are great at assisting them with anything that they need help with. Next slide, Giselle. And then we have our FYE navigators, which I myself and Giselle are, and we are a team dedicated to ensuring our students are successful and just make sure that we can assist you in any way possible. So we do work with our incoming new students to navigate the college process and technology by directing you to various programs and services offered on our campus, as well as assisting our students with the matriculation process. So registration, we also assist with the FAFSA application, anything that they need help with, that is what we are here for. We are available to connect with our FYE students via MSJC email, which we'll be providing at the end of the presentation. So you can always chat us via email with any questions that you may have. And then we do have in the works scheduled Zoom sessions. So we will be communicating that with our FYE students as to when we'll be available via Zoom. Next. And so we do have 5 top reasons why, to join FYE. So the first would be that students successfully complete their transfer level English and college level math. Second, you also receive early registration, which leads students to reach their 30 units faster within that year. And then students are also twice as likely to earn their associate's degree within a 2-year time period. And as well, our students are likely to persist into their second year at MSJC. And lastly, transfer to a 4-year university. So those are all of our top 5 reasons why to join FYE. And I believe that's it for that slide. And then in this slide here, we did incorporate a few quotes from our FYE alumni. We included this because it is pretty impactful. We have changed a lot of students' lives in this program and made sure that they were successful throughout their transition from high school to college to a 4-year university. And one of my favorite quotes is from our alumni, Robert Macias. And he stated that as a student, he was making the transition from high school to college. The FYE program gave him a foundation for success by being able to get the classes he needed, as well as meeting with a counselor and creating an educational plan for the 2 years that he was at MSJC. And he states that he cannot thank the FYE program enough for helping him transfer into the university and finishing the remaining 2 years that he had left. So again, that's a pretty impactful quote as well. Next slide, Giselle.
And I'll go ahead and take over the next slide. And I do want to jump in and mention, and I know Alexia just mentioned Robert, but I got to give him a little kudos. He'll be graduating, and I believe he'll be going on to Long Beach this year. So to complete his degree as an engineering major, which technically do have a lot of math and sciences, is awesome. He'll be graduating this May. So super proud of him. We're happy to have him as a FYE student and his feedback in regards to FYE. I will go ahead and take over the next few slides. Thank you, Alexia. You guys will see here in just a bit. I will allow her to present the end of the presentation, but I'll go ahead and cover the next few. So here's 5 steps to join FYE. If you are aware, and our fabulous outreach department has been sending out information regarding our information sessions, letting our high schools know that we are offering FYE information sessions. These sessions are step 1. It's not mandatory that you join, but if you want to learn a little bit more about our sessions, you're here today, so you're getting the information. You may have attended in the past, but if not, we do offer info sessions to anybody inquiring about FYE, wants to learn the first steps, maybe wants to meet with one of our staff members, kind of learn what it kind of looks like for them if they to join. That's step 1. Again, it's not mandatory, but if you want to learn more in-depth information, you're welcome to join any one of our sessions. We'll be offering them until the end of May. You can find more information about our info sessions on our MSJC website, www.msjc.edu/FYE. If you go to our main page, you'll be able to look at the info sessions. We'll show you guys this, what it looks like in a bit, so you guys see a visual. Step 2, you'll want to apply to MSJC via CCC Apply. If you go to msjc.edu/enroll, you'll be able to apply now for the upcoming semester. Once you complete the application, you will get an email, complete the setups for your My MSJC accounts, and then from there receive an MSJC student ID number. Step 3 is fill out and submit an application on the FYE website. It's all about time nowadays, right? We want to get things done quickly. One of the things that I'm proud to say is our FYE application takes about 30 seconds to complete. It's super simple. Again, we'll show you guys what this looks like in just a bit. On our MSJC website, on the FYE, we have a big button that says apply now. You can fill out the application, and our turnaround rate to let you know about your status with the FYE application is about a day. So we'll let you know right away. Step 4 is attend Summer Bridge. I mentioned this earlier, and I'll go into a bit more detail in just a few slides from now. But Summer Bridge is the orientation that we'll be offering for our FYE students. Students will want to complete that to not only meet with our staff, but get them ready for the fall semester. It's roughly about a 5-hour session. We do give breaks to our students, but we have tons of information that we give out during this time of Summer Bridge. And number 5 is register for the Student Success Seminar 990 or CSCR 100 course. Now, this depends if you're a part of any other programs like Emoja, Puente, or athletics, but once you meet with our FYE counselor, Diana Serrano, you'll be able to pick which course is right for you. So again, make sure you apply to FYE. The application is going to be due on May 31st. If you would like to get eligibility for fall early registration and spring early registration, you want to make sure that you complete it as soon as possible. So we're talking about SSS 990. What does that mean for you guys? We hear that a lot during this presentation. So let's go ahead and clarify. So the Student Success Seminar is a course designed to introduce college culture and academic success. The Student Success Seminar is a zero-cost entry course for FYE students designed to introduce college culture, academic success, and strategies. This course is developed to create thinking strategies that can be used in lifelong problem solving in academic, social, and personal life. Students who have also taken CSCR 100, which is College Success and Career Readiness, formerly Guidance 100, are also eligible to be a part of the FYE program taken previously. So in the previous slide, I mentioned students can either take the Student Success Seminar 990 or the CSCR course. It does depend when you meet with the counselor which course is right for you, because you may be a part of other programs, which you could do alongside FYE. We have tons of awesome programs at MSJC Accommodation Service Center, EOPS, Puente, Emoja, so on and so forth. So you could do this as well as being a part of FYE. They're all free programs. They're all supportive programs. I know we'll probably talk about them in your other presentations, but they're all super helpful. What is the CSCR? So that is the other course that you may take in place of the Student Success Seminar. Again, this is a conversation that you will have with the FYE counselor. But the Students College Success and Career Readiness 100 course is another course that will count in place of SSS 990 or the Student Success Seminar. It is a 3-unit fee-based transferable course. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're part of another program at MSJC, such as Puente or Emoja or Athletics, CSCR 100 may be the course that you will want to take for fall 2022. This course is designed to empower students with effective strategies for making wise choices in 3 areas: personal, academic, and career pathways. The course focuses on a strong, clear reason for staying in school, more ability to cope with the challenges of transitioning to a new life, educational planning, learning styles, campus resources, and effective strategies for personal health and wellness. Right? So what are some student questions that we often get? One of the questions that we get is, I've never taken college classes before. Do I qualify for FYE? Yes, any first-time students do qualify for FYE. Again, we can't stress this program enough. It's helpful. Not only do you get early registration, get your own support staff, you have events that you can be a part of, and we will be offering events in person and online, whether you are fully taking in-person classes, hybrid, or fully online courses. So that way you feel embedded in our campus culture. So just keep in mind of that if you are a first-time student. Number 2, when is a good time to apply for MSJC and meet with the FYE counselor? We'd say today, right? If you find some time in your schedule, thank you for coming to the high school senior day. We're super happy to help you. If you're done with your day and after today's presentations, you want to sign up, we encourage you to do so. We're going to mention this numerous times in our presentation, but May 31st is when our applications are due. So you want to submit them as soon as possible, so that way we can get you squared away before summer bridge, before the fall semester starts, so on and so forth. One of the last questions we get is, I took classes in high school, do I qualify for FYE? Only if you're a dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment student, you do qualify. So that is fine. If you have completed courses, kudos to you. If you haven't, no worries. You know, everyone is not a cookie cutter student, and we understand that. We still want to make sure each of our students are successful in their first year and so on, right? We're building that relationship and that foundation for you guys. So I've covered Summer Bridge a few times, but not really too in depth. And this is what I want to really go over with you, so you guys have an idea of what's expected once you're accepted into the FYE program. So Summer Bridge is a free 1-day in-depth orientation for FYE students on college life. Students will learn campus resources and campus culture, learn how to register for classes, and meet peers virtually before starting their first semester. Summer Bridge will be offered online in a 1-day session during the months of June and July. If you'd like to sign up for Summer Bridge, and feel free to take a screenshot if you'd like, please visit us at msjc.edu/FYE, or you can contact us for any questions you may have. It goes into more depth than this slide is saying, because there's a lot to expect from Summer Bridge. We will go over campus resources, assistance with class registration, which is one of our biggest questions that we get as navigators. We'll be able to allow you to meet with our counselor, get an educational plan, learn about majors and careers. We'll even have the transfer center there this year and talk about transferring and what you should expect into your second year. Setting up your My MSJC account, going over campus life, and getting your questions answered. You guys as first-time students have tons of questions, and we understand we want to make sure everything is as seamless for you as possible. So that's what we expect to happen during Summer Bridge is, even though it'll be offered virtually, building a community amongst our FYE students. Like we mentioned, it is a one-day orientation. There will be sessions offered June 13th, June 15th, so on and so forth. Each session will be starting at 9 a.m. through 2 p.m. So we want to make sure that you guys are able to fit it in your schedules once you guys graduate. Again, once you apply to FYE and are accepted, we will reach out to you in regards to signing up for one of the dates for Summer Bridge. Currently, the first day for Summer Bridge is completely filled. So we're looking at filling up our June 15th and so on dates. So if you want to be one of those students that's like, hey, I really want to get things squared away and enjoy my summer, you want to make sure you start your FYE process sooner than later. So that way you can pick one of the earliest dates for Summer Bridge. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Alexia. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We're going to show you guys the different options within our FYE website, show you what the application looks like, walk you step by step, so that way you guys all get a visual of what it will cover. So Alexia, whenever you're ready.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So in order to get to our FYE application or our FYE webpage, you first want to start off by visiting our main webpage for the college, which is msjc.edu. Once you're on our main webpage, you want to draw your attention to the top left right here where my mouse is, where it states getting in. Once you move your mouse down to the right, you'll see support programs, and right underneath there, you'll see first year experience. So this is where you'll want to go to access our webpage or apply to FYE. So let's go ahead and select FYE. And then it's going to bring you to our main webpage. It's going to give you a little bit of information and background information about our program. And if you scroll down, you'll see a big red button that states apply to be a part of the FYE program. So this is where you'll want to go to fill out that application and submit it so that we can review your application and inform you of whether or not you were accepted into our program. So again, make sure you apply by May 31st if you do want to receive early registration for fall and spring semester. Also too, if you do not have an MSJC student email active, we highly suggest using your personal email in the application as well, just so that we can get in touch with you, just letting you know that you were either accepted into the program. And then if you scroll back up on our webpage, on the left here, we have steps to enroll. And then right below that, we have Summer Bridge. So if you select Summer Bridge, it's going to bring you to our Summer Bridge page. Again, it's going to give you background information about what our Summer Bridge entails. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the dates and times available for Summer Bridge. And right below that, you'll see the registration button that states click here to register for Summer Bridge. Once you click this button here, it's going to redirect you to our registration form for Summer Bridge. What you'll want to do is select a date and time that works best for your schedule, and then just fill out the form and submit it. Once you submit this form, you'll be receiving an email from us with the registration link and the link to attend Summer Bridge on that day. And then also, if you have any questions, we have our FAQ located at the bottom here. But again, you can always email us for any questions that you have in regards to Summer Bridge or anything in regards to FYE. And then on our left-hand side, we also have a counseling section. If you select that, it'll take you to our FYE counseling page. Again, it's going to give you a quick rundown of the role of our FYE counselor, and it'll also give you the option to schedule an appointment with an FYE counselor, which you'll want to do. And then it also gives you some ideas on how to prepare for your appointment as well, which is important. If you have never had an FYE counselor or counselor meeting at the college, I think it's really helpful to prepare you. And then lastly, we also have our FYE staff where you can connect with us here. And then our contact information is also located on each of our cards, our emails As you can see here, we have our FYE navigators, and it gives you a quick little biography of about each FYE team member. And then it also gives you a link to meet with us as well. And then we also have a frequently asked questions page as well. You can take a look at that as well. It goes in depth about the eligibility requirements, what our student success seminar entails, questions that you can get answered here about the FYE program, and registration as well. Before I exit out of here, do you have any questions about the FYE application, how to register for Summer Bridge? Feel free to unmute yourselves or
I do
ask.
mention too, Lexi, and I apologize for cutting you off. The thing that I love about our FYE website is it's not just one piece of information posted in one area. You'll find pieces of information. The steps to enroll are on our main page, and we also have a tab for it on the left-hand side. So you'll find a lot of duplicate information. So that way, as first-time students, you guys don't get overwhelmed with trying to locate something specifically in one certain area. So please have a good time on our website. We try to make it as visually there and stunning as we could, so that way you guys have a good time navigating it. So please look at our everything we've posted in other areas. I noticed that we have our super awesome, amazing coordinator here. I'm going to ask him if he has any questions or wants to mention anything. Albert, if you have anything else, we can give you the floor if there's anything that you want to cover about FYE as well.
Do we have any questions for us about the FYE program, the application? Again, you can always email us as well, should you have any questions later on.
You know, you said a key word there, fun. Your website's fun. I mean, you guys are fun, and I want the participants today to know that, you know, we work really hard in college, but FYE is not only an, you know, extra, it's no extra work, right? But it's extra help. And you got a great group here that are a ton of fun. Alexia, Giselle, and Albert. Albert is having tech difficulties, so that's okay. He's here. You guys can chat, Albert, or Albert, you can chat with us if you have something. They did a great job presenting first year experience program. And if I could go back in time, I sure wish I had done FYE. So listeners, like this is a podcast or something, participants, you guys have any questions for our group? We got plenty of time here. And just so you know, we're recording this so you can share it later with those who couldn't attend, or show it to your mom and dads later next week. But also I'm going to hang back a little bit and answer other questions too. Any questions, anybody? I'll zip it and let you.
I was going to also mention, and I can't say this enough, our applications, and thank you, Beth, for saying those kind words about our program. I tell students all the time, I wish I would have been a part of it when I was a student, but unfortunately I was a transfer student. Applications are due by May 31st for consideration for the fall 2022 semester. You can apply anytime after that. Our applications will officially close on August 12th. Which is right before school starts, the weekend before, since fall starts on August 15th, if you guys aren't currently aware. The earlier you get the process going, I understand that you guys want to enjoy your summers, especially if you guys are graduating, and congratulations again. That's super awesome. But we can slowly start getting the process going for you guys. The earlier you guys fill out the application, we can start communicating with you the steps that you guys will need to complete. If by chance you want to contact us, we can leave this up if you want to take any screenshots. We've also posted information in the chat. Our email is fye@msjc.edu. Our website is msjc/fye. We also have social media, whether that's TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our handles are @msjcfye. We will make content for you guys so you guys can follow along. That way you're not just waiting for your information to reach you by student email. You can follow us on socials. And then lastly, again, we'll leave it open for questions if you guys want to put anything in the chat. If not, you guys are welcome to unmute yourselves. I will go ahead and mute myself until we have any further questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
I always do that on the reactions. I clap instead of raise my hand. My question is, and you may have said this, I may have missed it, but if they register for FYE by May 31st, do you nudge their registration appointment up a little earlier?
Yeah, so as long as they apply by May as long as even if it's on May 31st, they'll still get that early registration for fall, especially spring. So yeah, they'll be in the clear. If it's afterwards, Giselle, I don't know if you want to put your input on that, but I don't think they'll receive, because there's a deadline that we have to reach in order with enrollment in order to get those students in so that they can get that early registration for fall. So just make sure you do it by May 31st so that you can get your early registration for fall and get the classes that you need. It's a great incentive and benefit because, you know, some classes, like some majors are, and some classes are hard to get into, and you get the pick of the litter. So it's also a great benefit to have.
Yeah, and like Alexia said, I mean, you really want to try to do it before May 31st for the fall semester. She is correct in saying that if you do miss the cutoff date, you will get early registration for spring. And we keep saying, you know, you get to pick your classes, you get to pick your classes. And maybe as first-time students, we want to clarify that because you may not know. And that's fine, right? You guys are first-time students. That's not saying at MSJC you're not going to get your classes. That's not saying that you may not get the classes that you may first want, but as first-time students, you'll notice when you guys start registering for classes, which will be more than likely in July for the fall semester, some classes may be more impacted than others, like Alexia mentioned. So if there's a Monday, Wednesday English 101 course that you really want and you really have your eye on, but for some reason it's completely full, if you were a part of FYE and you had one of the earlier registration dates, you'll be able to guarantee your spot in that class. You don't want to wait list for a course and try to get in last minute. This kind of secures your spot by allowing you to pick your schedule. Classes cannot overlap when you guys are registering as first-time students. So we want to be sure that you're able to kind of have things at ease. I understand what it's like to have anxiety. I know Alexia and I share our experiences with students a lot to try to pick your classes last minute, trying to rush when everyone's registering. Take some stress off your shoulders. Join FYE, be able to be a part of our program and kind of have your summer, make sure that you have everything selected for courses and get one of the early registration dates. Again, there's tons of benefits outside of early registration, but we want to clarify that what that means to you guys. So it's one of the best benefits that we have.
Also, too, when you do fill out an application, you'll receive an email from us. It's acceptance email or an email stating that you weren't eligible, but either way, you'll hear back from us once you submit the application. So just to point out that as well. And then also too, a great thing about FYE is you have us FYE navigators. I know as my first year as a college student, I was a little stressed out when picking out my schedule for classes. So as FYE navigators, we can help you pick the best schedule for you. If you have work obligations, whatever those obligations are, we're here for you to assist you in any way we can and, you know, ease the registration process.
I have a question for the participants. How many of you have already done the online orientation? You can raise your hand, you can thumbs up, or you can type it in the chat. Miles, Danielle, or yeah, Daniel. Anybody? If not, you want to do that, but FYE is not yet. Okay, so go ahead and that's easy peasy. I'll show you where to find it. Or yeah, go ahead and they're going to share their screen, and it's part of the steps as doing you know, your steps to enrollment and onboarding. But FYE is further to onboarding, right? They're going to further orientate you. This first semester, you've got all kinds of stuff coming at you, and that's why it's called first year, because after this, especially if you do FYE, you're like professional college student and you kind of get how to do this college thing. So that's another thing. It's just it smooths that transition from high school to college, and you get all the answers. All right, thanks Miles for that feedback. So it's easy peasy, you put your earbuds in and you listen to a video and there's a little quiz at the end. But this is just further onboarding or further orientation. All the meetings that you'll do, like the counseling appointments and the FYE, it's all good stuff, right? And coming to this stuff is good stuff too. So I applaud you for coming out today, Daniel and Miles. Will you show us where orientation is under that enroll now button? Do you mind?
Yeah, I was going to say, Beth, thank you for bringing that up, because if we're going to record this, might as well share it out with students. So if you guys go to our MSJC website, I want to show you two actually important areas. I'll show you the new student steps since we have a little bit of time, and then I'll also show you guys the student support hub so that way you guys are familiar with it. So as first-time students, what you want to do when you first apply with us, you can go here to enroll now if you haven't done so already on this red button here. left at the top right of the screen. It's going to take you to a few steps depending on what category you are as a student. First-time students, returning MSJC students, incoming transfer students, high school students, which you guys will not be in a couple weeks, international students, and non-credit adult education students. So we're obviously going to go ahead and select first-time students. I do, before it's selecting it, want to make a note. If you plan on registering for summer courses, right here, this beautiful photo here will allow you to view these summer classes. Once the fall dates get released for scheduled classes, it will more likely be updated here. You can also see that. But I'm going to go ahead and select first-time students. This is going to give you 10 steps to complete. As a FYE student, we'll cover these steps with you, and you can make an appointment with myself or Alexia, or if, when you meet with Diana, if you are a FYE student, you will complete some of these steps with us. These are accordion menus. You can select the option, a drop-down menu will appear. What I want to pay attention to is what Beth was covering, is the online orientation. This is the only area to access the online orientation. Right here is a blue hyperlink, and you can see my mouse is hovering over it. You can select start your online orientation. You want to make sure that you complete it as soon as possible. For those students inquiring about the fall semester, June 21st, and I'll say that one more time, June 21st, which is coming up a little bit over a month from now, is when fall registration dates will be released. So you want to make sure that that's online orientation is completed, so you receive your fall registration date via email or text message with the number that you have on file with us. And then from there, you can complete the other steps as a first-time student. Check your registration date, register for classes, pay your fees. You kind of get your leg up on all this information. And our enrollment services department has done a fantastic job to provide this, so that way you guys are prepared for your first semester. Another thing that I want you guys to pay attention to is the left-hand side here. You'll see spring important dates, summer important dates, and fall important dates. The fall important dates were just released within the past week. I just want to cover that with you guys. The schedule of classes will be available May 16th, so we're about 5 days away. So you guys have an idea of what classes will come out in fall. Again, can't stress it enough to meet with a counselor, especially if you're a part of FYE, to meet with our fabulous FYE counselor, so you know which classes to take for your major. Registration appointments will get released June 21st. Registration will begin July 5th. It depends on your specific date. But again, if you guys are part of FYE, you'll get early registration. And then the semester will begin August 15th. This page will get adjusted once they verify the other dates. And it'll look something like this. I'll go ahead and show you guys what the summer 2022 dates look like. So once the full dates get released for fall 2022, it will look something like this, where you see the full semesters of important dates and deadlines. So that way you guys are aware of that information. I'm going to start back at the main page and go to the Student Support Hub. So that way you guys also know what that looks like. Look at this fantastic banner about high school senior days. Isn't that beautiful? So at the top left, we're going to go ahead and select Student Support Hub. There's one area here. I will hover over it briefly. You guys can go to the Student Support Hub here. We also have the Student Support Hub right below where the My MSJC area is. And if I scroll a little bit with these fantastic banners our Public Information Office has created, there's another area where you guys can access the Student Support Hub, and that's this banner here. Either or, however you feel comfortable navigating it. If you guys aren't familiar, the Student Support Hub houses departments and programs here at MSJC. Some services are still offered remotely or online. If you scroll down, you guys will be getting familiar with these areas over the summer. If you need to get in contact with some of our departments, you can visit our virtual welcome center, which says click here to speak to a live person. This will allow you to speak to our mentors and staff members if you have any questions. If you need to contact enrollment services, financial aid, the cashier, the counseling department. I know we had a question earlier from one of the students about the accommodation service center. You can select these drop-down menu and it will give you their phone number, email, and virtual lobbies, depending if they have that available. We also have the first year experience information here. This is our phone number, email, and appointments. And you can contact all these areas, all these departments. You'll get familiarized with these areas as you guys begin your journey here at MSJC. But in case you want to follow up and see which departments are available, you're welcome to do so on the hub. Beth, if you have anything else, I don't know if you wanted me to mention anything, I can stop sharing. But I think that covers those two areas.
That was great. Yeah, I let's show that every session. We showed it yesterday, but you've reminded me to show that hub of all the departments every session here during high school senior days. So I'm not going to sign off. You guys can hang out. If you got what you needed, you can head out, but I'm going to stop recording.